Tonight,
4 minutes.
a man is crushed beneath a quarter-ton engine.
Fire will be there to get the engine off his legs over.
On the top floor in the top corner here.
A cardiac arrest on a squash court.
Onto your back, John. Sorry, mate.
A DIY disaster.
Isolated abdominal injury with partly eviscerated bowel. Hold on to my hand.
And a passenger is trapped after a serious car crash.
Have you got some morphine to draw up? I think he's going to need it no matter what, isn't he?
The critical care team was formed with one aim: to save more lives. Operating 24/7 and crewed by highly qualified doctors and paramedics, their fleet of vehicles are prepped with life-saving equipment and ready to scramble at a moment's notice.
What day is it? It's Sunday. It's 7 o'clock in the morning.
32-year-old critical care paramedic Tom Waters is about to start a 12-hour shift.
We check all our kit every day, so then nothing gets missed out. I like to just make sure everything's in its special place. It all gets used on a daily basis, so make sure nothing's missing.
After working in the ambulance service for 6 years, Tom underwent 18 months specialised drugs and life-saving skills training to become a critical care paramedic.
An ambulance traditionally would only see a major trauma patient or someone who's suffered a significant car accident or whose heart has stopped beating maybe once or twice a year, where our job is to deal with cardiac arrests, major trauma patients on a daily, regular basis.
Ambulance service, is the patient breathing?
Yes, yes, but the person's on the floor.
Awake?
Yes, but the person has cut the belly.
Have they fallen? They've put themselves with a chainsaw. Are they able to see to me?
No. Oh my God,
okay.
Everything's out.
His intestines?
Yeah.
Has he lost enough blood to fill 2 mugs?
Yes, a lot. Please, just come.
We're coming on blue lights and sirens, so we're going to be there as quickly as we can.
It looks like a 43-year-old male who has sustained an abdominal injury from a chainsaw, and his intestines are out on the floor.
An ambulance is already on scene, but the man's injuries are so severe that they've requested critical care backup. Tom has been dispatched.
It's easy to paint a picture, but you really don't know until you get there.
11 minutes after receiving the call, Tom arrives at the address. His body cam records every detail of the horrific scene.
Hi, you're right. Hello, sir. My name's Tom from the air ambulance. What's your name?
The injured man, 43-year-old forklift driver Rafa, is being given oxygen by the ambulance crew to try and keep him conscious as his body reacts to the shock of the 5-inch wound to his lower abdomen.
Right, so with this, if you just want to cover that with that. Perfect.
I'm just taking a photo of it.
No, that's fine.
Just in case you want.
Right then.
It looks like it's adipose tissue more than anything, doesn't it?
The blade has sliced down through skin and flesh, exposing his intestines.
Oh.
Tom needs to try and keep the wound clean, prevent his intestines coming out, and stop the bleeding.
Hopefully, if we can just hold it around it, it will stick to it a little bit. And then, if I can get you guys to put some tape around that, is that all right?
I'm just going to stick the dressing down, Raphael, OK, just to keep it clean.
OK, so this gentleman, age, I believe you already know. He's a GCS of 15 at the moment with isolated abdominal injury with partly eviscerated bowel.
With such a deep wound, Tom knows Rafa could have catastrophic internal bleeding. He needs to get him to hospital fast for emergency surgery.
I think my initial plan would be to get some IV access, wound management, and then convey him to the QE.
The danger is that moving him may put too much strain on him and send him into cardiac arrest.
How are you feeling? Sam, can you get some IV access? Is that all right?
Element 03 Alpha's road to start recall. 4 p.m.
be and heading eastbound towards them.
The most serious emergencies require a doctor-led trauma response. The Midlands Air Ambulance can fly a hospital doctor and critical care paramedic to 90% of the region within 8 minutes, delivering advanced life-saving care to the roadside and fast transfer back to hospital.
Ambulance services, the patient breathing?
Yes.
Are they conscious and awake?
Yes. Me and my husband are moving some mechanical equipment around the back of our house and it fell on him and broken his wrist and there's like a big engine sitting on his leg.
Okay, so he's trapped under it at the moment?
Yeah.
What's it, an engine from a car or?
A car, yeah, a Land Rover.
Okay, sweetheart, we'll be with you as quick as we can.
So 3 got ETA 4 minutes. Have you got any details on the case, please?
Dr. Matt Rowley and critical care paramedic Karen Baker are en route to a code red emergency.
Patient in the back garden who's been working on the Land Rover's engine. It's fallen onto him, trapping his by his legs. Fire will be there in order to get the engine off his legs over.
A man is lying crushed beneath 1/4 ton of cast iron. The range of potential injuries are so severe, the critical care team have been scrambled.
Our point of view would be go do an assessment, look at his airway, breathing, circulation, and see if there's any immediate interventions we need to perform that may be life-threatening to him.
Helimed is above the house within minutes.
Okay, you think we've got, fire service. Just coming down the right-hand side there. So it looks like this field here is going to be about the nearest. There's horses in that, unfortunately. We're just looking if there's anything in that.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
okay, cool. We'll go with that.
A paramedic working on a regular ambulance will only see a couple of major trauma incidents a year.
All good on the left there, Cass.
Yeah, all good.
Thank you very much.
But these guys deal with the most critical emergencies every day of the week.
There's a catch in there.
03 on the ground.
It's now been 15 minutes since the 999 call came through. Matt and Karen are concerned the longer the man is trapped under the machinery, the more damage is being done.
If they've managed to get it off quite quickly, then we'll be looking at some soft tissue damage and fractures. If it stayed on his legs, how long it's crushed his legs for, because then you get problems with circulation.
Hello.
How are we doing? You all right?
Says you can feel it, obviously it hurts.
Yeah.
Arriving on scene, Matt and Karen are quickly briefed by the fire service and a local ambulance crew before they can take control of the rescue.
Yeah, he's got a collis fracture on his left wrist as well.
Okay.
So we're just in the process of getting the engine off.
Okay. What's your name, fella?
Dave.
Dave. My name's Matt, one of the doctors off their ambulance. All right.
Scrapyard manager and Land Rover enthusiast Dave Evans was renovating one of his old vehicles when the heaviest part, the engine block, fell off the workbench.
Can we get you back on this gas and air?
Dave tried to stop the fall, but the huge weight was too much, breaking the bones in his wrist.
And it's just toppled over onto him from there, has it? Presumably.
The ambulance crew have splinted Dave's broken wrist and given him gas and air and intravenous morphine to help him deal with the pain.
How's he doing with the morphine?
Although Dave appears calm, Karen is worried about the potential injuries to his leg that they can't see.
Is it from the lower leg?
What I can only see just around the knee, I can't see below.
Has he got a distal sensation?
Karen is worried the engine could be restricting the blood supply down his leg. This could lead to Dave losing his foot. It's essential they get the weight off before it's too late. The critical care team cover an area of 5,000 square miles in the West Midlands with a population of 5.6 million people.
Ambulance services, the patient breathing.
Every day, the ambulance service receives around 4,000 emergency calls. But when the call is critical and there's every chance the patient won't make it, that's when the trauma specialists are needed.
Going to the big job now. See you later.
The #1 call out is to people whose heart has stopped pumping effectively and gone into cardiac arrest.
coming through as a cardiac arrest in the street.
Yeah, that's all received. We're showing about 7 minutes away.
Every minute the patient's in cardiac arrest, their chance of survival decreased by about 11%. So the quicker someone starts CPR, the more likely it is that the patient will survive neurologically intact.
Obviously, we're hoping when we go to a cardiac arrest that we can get an output back. We've got the Lucas device which we can use, and we've also got drugs that we can give, medication, which obviously increases their chances of survival.
Ambulance service, patient breathing?
No. It was someone who's playing on the court next to us. There's staff around him and they're doing CPR.
Right. I know that they've got access to a defib then. I presume one of the staff members got it today.
Yeah,
they have. Okay, right, we are coming as quickly as we can, okay.
A 72-year-old collapsing with a sudden cardiac arrest is an immediate code red emergency.
Good.
2 local ambulance crews have already been dispatched to the scene. But as fewer than 1 in 10 people who suffer an out-of-hospital cardiac arrest survive, 28-year-old critical care paramedic Aidan is also en route.
The AED's been used, 1 shot's been delivered.
Excellent, thanks, bud.
A bystander has managed to restart the man's heart with a defibrillator, but it could re-arrest at any moment.
I'll go with Lucas in hand.
The Lucas chest compression system allows Aidan to continue resuscitation mechanically, even while on the move. It's a vital bit of life-saving kit for the critical care team.
Looks like it's in a squashed court on the top floor.
Arriving at the sports centre, it's now 20 minutes since the call came through.
Excuse me, upstairs?
Yeah, absolutely. It's up on the top floor in the top corner here.
Thank you.
When a person has suffered a cardiac arrest, time is critical. Every minute the brain is starved of oxygen, there is a greater risk of stroke and long-term brain damage.
Hello. How are you doing, everyone? All right? How are you doing? Hello, how are you doing?
4 paramedics are already treating 72-year-old John.
Went to hit the squash ball, collapsed, fell flat on his face. The gentleman over there gave him mouth-to-mouth chest compression.
Yeah.
He started breathing again.
His condition was so serious, it took staff at the sports club 6 minutes and 3 attempts with a defibrillator to get his heart started again.
Has he got chest pain or anything at the moment?
He has got the chest pain like global all over.
Okay.
Very funny.
The paramedics have put John on an oxygen mask and hooked him up to an electrocardiogram to give an accurate reading of how well his heart is functioning after the cardiac arrest.
We'll just sit him onto his bum, stand up on his feet, stretch him behind him. Onto your back, John.
Taking charge of the scene, Aidan needs to get John off the floor, onto a stretcher and into hospital.
All right, what's happening? Where's that pain?
If he has a second cardiac arrest, it's his best chance of survival.
When you guys got here, he was GCS 15, a bit agitated, but he was conscious and stuff.
No, he was very combative. He couldn't talk.
Okay, let's just shave all this off for a second while we can, and then get the pads on. It's obviously a high chance of rearresting now.
Although John is conscious, his brain was deprived of oxygen for 6 minutes. It's left him confused.
John, where's that hurting, mate? In your chest? Okay. Does it feel like you've hurt something as you've fallen?
No.
You don't know? Okay.
He fell first.
John, are you listening? So, I know that's really painful. We've got to get you up off the floor in order to get you into the ambulance and off to hospital. So bear with us. Let us help you. Just wait a second.
These chest pains are a sign of restricted blood flow to the heart. It's a clear warning that he is in danger of suffering another cardiac arrest.
Match me right. First of all, John, just sit up for us. Not stand, just sit for a second. All right, just wait there. After 3 then, John. 1, 2, 3, push. Just have a seat on there.
Sit down, John.
Right, relax your head down to the right. Down to the right. We'll swing your legs up. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Just square yourself up into the middle for us, John. Okay.
Having got John onto the stretcher, Aidan is able to manage his airway and restart chest compressions if necessary.
So he's not had any medication or anything yet?
No.
Lovely. I'm just going to give you a bit of a spray in your mouth. Might make you feel a little bit lightheaded, a little bit dizzy. If it does, just let us know. OK? The tongue up for me. Lovely. And pop this in your mouth and just chew that around for me.
Aidan gives John a nitroglycerine spray to expand his blood vessels and an aspirin pill to thin the blood to increase the flow around his heart. Now he's ready to start the journey to hospital.
Was it yourself who did the CPR?
There's a few people.
Well, you guys absolutely saved this man's life, so you should go home very happy. Well done. Thank you very much. Guys, nice and steady. Just slow it down just a bit.
Leaving his vehicle at the gym, Aidan will travel with John in the ambulance in case he has another cardiac arrest en route.
Right, it's going to be a bit bumpy, OK?
He won't leave his side until he's safely delivered to hospital.
Nice and steady there. Oh. Right, we're going to cut this off.
It isn't safe to move Rafa until Tom knows the full extent of his injuries.
Right, just put him forward. I just want to check his back while we're here. Yeah. It's very sweaty, isn't it? OK, so no other injuries. Was this done on a chainsaw?
Yes.
Can you find out exactly what's happened?
The gentleman there speaks English.
How are you feeling?
He went on a ladder. He was doing something around this thing.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
It turns out Rafa was fixing the guttering with an electric saw.
This one?
Yeah.
When the ladder slipped, the saw ripped through his abdomen.
Yeah, 6'2", just an update. So heart rate's around 50 at the moment.
Rafa's blood pressure is low, which could be a sign that the blade has damaged some large blood vessels internally or even perforated the bowel.
He's quite clammy and sweaty at the moment. I see no immediate signs of him hemorrhaging, however, I don't know how deep it is.
They have to get him to hospital.
I'm going to get him in the back of the ambulance and convey QE. I'll put some details for as we go. OK then, Rafa. We're going to put our chair here. We're going to get you to move you and take you into the back of the ambulance, OK? My only concern is he's a bit hypotensive, so he might go a bit funny if we stand up. So we'll try and obviously avoid as little movement as possible. Hold on to my hand. OK. Do you feel like you can walk? No. OK, that's great. Are you sure? OK.
Despite Rafa's horrific injuries, Tom has no choice but to move him onto the ambulance.
Yeah.
Keeping the pressure on the wound to stop his intestines spilling out.
I'm just a bit worried he's a bit hypotensive, so we'll just take our time. Well done. OK, so up you come. So, at the moment, this gentleman's got a circular saw accident to his stomach, part of his bowel, and a lot of his stomach is out at the moment, so we've addressed it. I'm going to give him some drugs to stop him bleeding and pain relief and take him to the major trauma hospital in Birmingham.
Just going to give you some pain relief, some paracetamol, OK, to help with your pain, Rafa.
How are you feeling? Yeah?
They head to the major trauma centre at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, where Rafa will need immediate surgery to repair the wound and stop any internal bleeding.
Rafa, are you all right holding that?
On the journey, Tom needs to keep his patient under close observation. There's a real danger his low blood pressure could suddenly drop, putting him into cardiac arrest.
Rafa, how are you feeling? All right? Good. Well done. You're doing a great job. We're nearly there.
Arriving at hospital 23 minutes later, Tom can hand over his critically injured but now stable patient to the waiting specialists.
Thank you.
In an average 12 hours, Tom will attend around 8 life-threatening emergencies, testing his techniques, drugs and specialised equipment to the limit in some very challenging environments.
I've obviously seen the worst in people and the best in people, but I've never really had an issue of taking it home. I've got a very small baby and a fiancé, and that pretty much fills my life in the evenings, so... There are days where you have jobs which you get flashbacks. You know, at worst, it's always children, isn't it? But fortunately, I seem to manage quite well with that. I feel like I'm relatively thick-skinned.
For Tom, there's no such thing as a quiet shift, and there's never long to wait after the end of one job until he's needed again. An ambulance has been dispatched to an address in Dudley for a code red emergency involving a seriously ill child, and they've requested critical care backup.
5 minutes away, and we don't know too much information, but we think it's a 10-year-old who's not very well.
Sick children can go downhill very fast. A sudden onset of disease can easily overwhelm their body's vital systems, so early diagnosis is paramount.
Assessments of children are generally really hard, and there's always things that can get missed.
He arrives on scene 14 minutes later.
I went in through the side.
The paramedics have already moved the child into the ambulance.
Hey, buddy, you're going to be sick. Can we have you around? All right.
It's every paramedic's worst nightmare.
Oh, thanks.
The boy is presenting advanced symptoms of one of the most deadly childhood diseases.
I think that kid's got meningitis.
Sorry, mate. Relax. If someone's got some morphine on this truck, if someone can draw some morphine up, if that's okay. And then we'll work on just getting a posterior ECG, see whether we can get him straight to PCI.
John was without oxygen for 6 minutes before gym staff restarted his heart, which left him confused. But 27 minutes later, he is starting to become more lucid.
John, so I think something's happened to your heart. Okay, so we're going to be taking you to hospital shortly. Okay, you've had a collapse whilst playing squash. Yeah. We'll take good care of you. All right. Okay. Have you ever had a heart attack or anything like that before?
I had a murmur once.
A murmur. Okay, you never had surgery on your heart?
No.
No, okay.
It's now 33 minutes since John collapsed.
Right, John, we're just taking a little scan of your heart. Okay. We need you to stay really still for a second. Okay, nice and still for us.
Aidan needs to run a second ECG to try and find the cause of John's cardiac arrest.
Just 2 seconds. Is that a good trace? It's all right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, guys, we'll head off in just a second. If it's OK, just have someone can drive my vehicle. I can do with somebody else in the back, though, just in case he has another arrest. Yeah, just nice and steady, bud. That'd be great. And there's just going to be a little scratch on your hand, OK?
En route to hospital, John is given 2.5 milligrams of morphine, a fast-acting painkiller, to help make his journey more bearable.
So, John, we're going to New Cross Hospital at the moment. Obviously, we think there might be something a little bit wrong with your heart at the moment, OK, which has caused you to have this collapse. OK, so when we get to the hospital, there's going to be quite a few people there who are going to want to speak to you and ask you some questions, OK? We'll take good care of you, OK? You say you're winning the game of squash. Are you sure? Do you normally win against this chap? It looked like an elderly gentleman.
So he ain't playing with you again?
No, I've been playing with 40 years.
40 years?
Yeah.
Crikey. You should be all right by now, then.
I'm struggling to remember what that is.
You've had a period where you've lost consciousness.
Okay.
Yeah. So that would be expected.
Right.
Yeah.
6 minutes later, they arrive at New Cross Hospital, where Aidan delivers his patient safely into the care of the waiting cardiac specialists. For John, it's been a lucky escape.
Obviously had a cardiac arrest, a really serious situation. We're probably in the best situation that we could be now, considering he's had this cardiac arrest. So he's now relatively stable, his heart's beating okay, he's breathing. So they're going to do a few more tests to see exactly what it is which has gone wrong with his heart and treat him appropriately from there. So really happy, really good outcome, and just emphasising the importance of bystander CPR and community access defibrillators, which undoubtedly saved this gentleman's life. So yeah, really good.
The leg can just go ischemic. You cut off the oxygen supply. and then that builds up toxins. And then, of course, when it's released, those toxins can then go into the main circulation.
The fire brigade are trying to free Dave using hydraulic lifting equipment, but without a clear view of his trapped leg, it's hard to get the machinery into the correct position without risking even more traumatic injuries.
Right, that's it. Really slow, deep breaths now.
He's had 15 milligrams of morphine and continues to take gas and air to deal with the intense pain.
Right, let me hold. Good man, that's it. And again. Deep breaths.
With the lift now in position, the firefighters and medics work together.
Just tapping me, Paul. My leg's loose now. Just me, Paul.
Good. Deep breaths, Chris. We're supposed to do this, mate. Go on.
Right, sorry.
Deep breaths, I say. Well done.
Oh. Hang on.
Hold down, Chris. Just hold it there.
Yeah, you're going to help yourself, sir. Would you right? Yeah, go on, forward. Okay. Go on, forward. We shoot.
Smash it.
Go on. Go on.
Well done.
With Dave's leg finally free, Matt and Karen can assess how badly it's been damaged.
Good man, let's have a little look at it.
How's your pain now that you've come out?
Just because my foot's been crushed, but I don't feel like it's broke. My wrist is definitely broke.
Yeah. Are you tolerating the pain at the moment?
Yeah.
That's a lot better.
My leg feels
All right.
fine.
Good.
Very good.
Toes a bit blue now.
Give your toes a wiggle. Good man. Well done.
Miraculously, despite being trapped under 1/4 of a ton of cast iron, Dave appears to have escaped with just some painful bruising.
Shall we get your chair, do you think? Yeah. We'll pop him in a chair and go over the back.
She gets to shout at you now you're all right.
You'll just have to do it in the house next time, won't you, where it's dry? Be all right. He's been very lucky. It's just sort of pinned his leg to the floor. He's got no serious injuries. People would come off much worse if he'd fallen on his femur, his pelvis, his abdomen, his chest. You know, his injuries could have been far more significant.
Dave is being taken to hospital by the ambulance crew, leaving Matt and Karen clear to respond to the next emergency.
You gonna be sick? Can we have your arm? All right.
He is displaying symptoms of meningitis septicemia, a rare bacterial infection that kills 10% of children who catch it.
Oh, bless him. And sorry, he's 10 years old, isn't he?
Yeah.
10. Okay.
10-year-old Harry was sent home from school yesterday with what seemed like a vomiting bug. Now a rash has started to spread across his body.
See you in a bit, Harry. Your mum's coming forward with you, OK?
A dangerous sign the disease is advancing fast.
I am 1.2 grams, dissolved in 4 mils, 1.2 grams, 4 mils.
Tom knows if his diagnosis is correct, he doesn't have long to get the infection under control before it enters Harry's bloodstream, where he won't be able to halt it.
Well done, Harry.
We're going to give him an injection into his arm as well. He's going to have 2 injections, if that's all right.
Tom will need to administer the potentially life-saving antibiotic there and then before they get to hospital.
Hold on, buddy.
With a son's life hanging in the balance, Harry's mother Laura can only stand by and watch.
Okay, bud. That's the first one. Go ahead.
Hi, Tom Choice Bobby. Just wondered if you had any clinical update whether you required it.
Yes, it's got quite a significant rash along his body. Reduced ECS. Given his pen now.
What's the actual copy of speech in a bit?
So is that that's
600.
That's 600.
Yeah, so he's having 1.2.
Right, then we get ready to go. Are you ready, mate?
Tom knows it's critical they get Harry to hospital as quickly as possible, where he has the best chance of recovery.
Do you want me? How about if I do the pre-alert for you, and then you could get going then, couldn't you? There you go. And I'll say 7 minutes to Russell's Hall.
Immediately, the second dose of antibiotics is in. The crew prepares to leave, while Tom calls ahead to pre-alert the hospital staff.
Hello there, it's Tom, one of the critical care paramedics. Can I pass you an alert, please? A 10-year-old boy. He's had a 2-day history of being generally unwell, nausea, vomiting, not his normal self, very pale. and got a clear blotched rash along his body. They're going to be 7 minutes to yourselves. Obviously, we've got a very high suspicion that he's got meningitis.
For all ambulance crew, dealing with a critically ill child is the most stressful situation they have to face. Thanks to Tom's training and experience, Harry has the best chance of recovery.
What that child needs is a good hospital quickly. The fact that he's got a very typical septicemic rash over his body, with the history of him being unwell and deteriorating throughout the day and looking very poorly, those factors mean he needs antibiotics and he needs a hospital very quickly, and that's all we really did. It's a very rare circumstance you go to a child presenting with those symptoms. What I was very conscious of was not delaying on scene, so that's why I passed the details and let the crew, deliver that care ongoing. They're doing a great job. So, I just might pop and see how they go on.
The critical care team in the West Midlands operates 24/7, 365 days a year. Dr. Katie White and critical care paramedic Ian Locke are on standby, waiting for the next emergency as the all-night trauma response unit.
I think you get used to it.
You do get used to it. I think it gets harder as you get a bit older, I think.
Lockie would know better than me.
In the early hours of the morning, a call comes through to ambulance control. A car has been involved in a high-speed collision. A man is trapped inside with life-threatening injuries. Critical care backup is required.
We've been called to a road traffic collision. We've been asked to attend by a crew in attendance to a patient who has crushed their car into a concrete wall.
From spinal paralysis to life-threatening internal bleeding, the impact of high-speed collisions on the human body can be devastating.
They are just pulling down the Crescent Road towards the scene now.
Dr. Katie and Ian know they're going to have to get there fast if they're going to save a life.
5008 all received.
Eyewitnesses report the car was seen travelling at a high speed down the dual carriageway when it hit the roundabout.
We haven't got many reports of exactly what the injuries are yet, but if the crew are requesting us, then it's likely that they found something that they've got concerns about.
21 minutes after receiving the call, they are at the scene. The police have had to close the road, and firefighters are hard at work trying to free the injured passenger. Dr. Katie is a consultant anaesthetist. She spends half her time in a hospital and half on the road, responding to life-threatening emergencies.
This vehicle has been seen driving at really high speed down here and has basically just gone head first straight into this entire concrete structure.
To get her up to speed on what's happened, Katie is briefed by the paramedic operations manager who is managing the scene.
The driver is out walking around absolutely fine. The front seat passenger, when the crew rocked up, had quite a substantial laceration and head injury. Okay. Still trying to assess for other injuries, just trying to get the pain under control. Okay. It's so distracting for him at the minute. They're just going for a roof removal and to bring him out that way.
Fantastic.
With the injured man still trapped inside the badly wrecked car, a member of the fire brigade is using the jaws of life, a hydraulic saw, to cut the roof away, while another protects him with a blanket as the blade passes inches from his head.
Head injury. Drowned out.
The man is conscious, but he was thrown around the car when it smashed into the concrete wall and may well have sustained serious internal injuries.
So I believe this gentleman has come from down this road, which is quite a fast dual carriageway, hit this concrete bollard. He's actually moved the concrete bollard, shunted it backwards, and interestingly, what we've just seen is that he's actually managed to bend the metal railing behind, and there's a significant drop the other side, so I think he's quite lucky that that concrete bollard's there.
Having examined the crash site for further clues as to how sick her patient might be, Katie wants to assess the driver who managed to walk free of the crash.
I've obviously seen the crash he's been involved in. He's all right. They're just going to get him out. Shall we get you somewhere where I can have a look at you?
Yeah, it's not mine.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Come on, let's go. Let's go down towards the ambulance, and I'll just find somewhere to see you.
Satisfied the driver is fine, Katie heads back to the crash site, where with the roof now off the car, Ian is finally able to examine the passenger. 22-year-old restaurant manager Sahil has been fitted with a cervical collar to protect him from aggravating any possible spinal injury. He's also complaining of severe pain in his left arm.
Do you want to take one side and I'll take the other? Get under this.
Sahil's legs are unharmed, so it will be less painful on his other injuries if he can stand on his own feet and be helped out of the wreckage.
So what we're going to get you to do is to stand up, all right? Turn very gently. We'll support you as you're doing it, and put your bottom kind of in the middle of the stretcher, okay? And then what we'll do is we'll get you to lie down, okay? So you keep your neck nice and still. Where's it hurting? On your arm? Okay, so not touch that arm. Okay, you support that arm and then come up towards me, okay? It's just too sore. Okay, all right. Do you think if somebody was behind you helping you just get up and out of the seat, that might help? Okay. All right. If it's too much, we'll get some more pain relief for you, okay? Okay. Do you want me to support your arm? You can't.
If it's a no-go, don't worry, mate. No? OK.
Shall we
go back to plan B then? We'll go on the back.
Yeah.
OK, Rich, longboarding down the back.
Sahil's arm is too painful for him to be helped to stand, so Katie and Ian will have to resort to plan B.
Have you got some morphine to draw up? Has he had any? Or has your crewmate drawn any? I think so. I think he's going to need it no matter what, isn't he?
With Ian in charge, the fire brigade start to slide a spinal board behind Sahil before carefully levering him out. Once he's flat, he can be lifted onto the stretcher.
We're just going to take him in the warm. Thank you. Lovely. There you go. No worries. How are you doing? All right? How old are you? 22. 22, okay. My name's Katie. I'm one of the doctors. All right. What's hurting at the moment? Sorry?
Just his arm.
So I think it's that arm.
Yeah.
So the options are, do you want to hold on to that?
Yeah.
I'm just going to cut your clothes, lovely. So we'll get some pain relief in.
Yeah.
Shall we splint it?
Free from the wreckage, Katie urgently needs to examine Sahil. Being thrown around the car, he could have broken a rib and punctured a lung or shattered a bone in his pelvis.
Take a couple of nice deep breaths.
From us, it was nice.
And that feels all right. Okay, lovely. Injuries top to toe. He's got a head injury, no obvious chest, abdo or pelvis injuries. He's got an obviously fractured left humerus with no neurovascular compromise.
Sahil is lucky. Despite the seriousness of the crash, he's escaped with a broken arm and a cut to the head.
He's had some IV morphine, an IV paracetamol and a splint to his left arm. Crew ETA to Sandwell will be 10:10 minutes. Received?
Roger, Katie, yeah, that's all copied. Thanks so much. I'll get that past you now.
Thank you.
Katie and Ian leave Sahil with the paramedic crew, who'll transport him to hospital while they prepare for the next Trauma Code Red.
Move that concrete barrier, you'd think. Lucky. That patient needs to go to a hospital department where he's going to get a CT scan to have a look, to just make sure that there aren't any other injuries that we can't see. We didn't feel he needed to go to the major trauma centre or that he needed us to go with him, because I don't think as a critical care team we were going to add anything more to his care en route. He has had some pain relief. We've splintered his arm, and now he just needs to go and have that thorough check over, and then he's clearly going to need surgery on that arm.